Do you ever see someone's astrology chart and you're like, holy crap, wow. Or you're like, oh, okay. So this reading that you're about to step into is a perfect case, a perfect example of that. I got a taste of what transformation looks like in Darian's life based off of her chart. And we even brought in the organs and the TCM side of it. So stick along if you want to hear more about this huge thing in her chart, her astrology chart, and listen to how it might actually be reflecting in her physical body as well. Hello, and welcome to Sacred
Hello.
Rhythms. I am Naomi, and I have my dear friend Darian, who I'm actually just getting to know, but every time we get together, I fall a little bit more in love with you, Darian.
Thanks. The feeling is mutual.
And
It's like,
just
oh, good talk to Naomi.
it truly is so sweet how we met, and it was so healing for me. And every single time that we are together, like another part of me even softens and heals. And I'm so thankful that you're in my life. So thank you for even coming on here and supporting my message and supporting even my learnings with this. Okay, world, everyone that's watching this, what we're gonna be doing today is we are gonna be looking into Darian's chart and specifically connecting it with the TCM model of the organ chart. And I'm gonna be talking about how I do this, what I'm seeing in her chart in that connection, and then we're gonna see what Darian thinks about it, whether it's whether it works or it doesn't work or it's somewhere in the middle. Darian did come in this conversation and this opportunity with an intention, but I do want to give her some room and space to vocalize what your desires are, who you are, so the world can know your specialty and your gifts. And I can't wait to bring that into what we're going to be talking about today, too. So, Darian, I would love to give the floor to you to share what you do and what your desires are for today.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is, you just, this energy, this space it's always going to be a yes for me. This was the easiest yes of like, of course I'm going to support her. This is incredible. She's doing amazing things. So that was super easy. I'm Darian, and I don't know if you know this, but I do have a background in ecological restoration. So up until a couple years ago, I've been working. Yeah, my focus was in aquatic ecosystems. So I worked with a lot of coastal eutrophication. So like the algal blooms that you'll see in Florida, like the red tides. That's a really big one that is typically most people know about. But I worked within aquatic ecosystems. That was my background. Dabbled into forestry a little bit. And that has all kind of led me to Reiki because I had this deep tie to the natural world. And every time I experience the natural world, there's always there's something else. And I feel like I just slowly kept finding that. And that's what led me to Reiki. So now I am a certified Reiki practitioner, and I also am a certified yoga therapist as well. And so I am slowly and intentionally building my business. And that's what I've got going on right now.
It kind of broke up on me a little bit. I love that you do ecological stuff and the aquatics, and then you said the forestry. Is that the word you used?
Yeah, I work as a forester for a little bit.
That is so cool. And just the water and the trees, those are my happies. So
Uh-huh.
that's
Uh-huh.
amazing.
Yep.
And then and then what you said that you're certified not only in Reiki but something else. What was it? Kind of broke up on me, whatever that word was that
Yeah,
you said.
somatic yoga therapy. So I tie that into Reiki just to
Ooh.
help like with more grounding and being centered and kind of in tune with your body. I use it as like an extra modality within Reiki.
Yeah, that's so cool. So do you just one final question, then we'll get into the yummy stuff. So with the somatic yoga and combining it with the Reiki, are you literally moving body parts, or is it more like while you're doing Reiki, or is it something else?
So honestly, it kind of depends on how the session goes and where the client is leading me. But a lot of times I use it to for opening and for grounding. And so it's kind of like take home practice of like, hey, these are some things that we can do. And we'll go over those during the session. Say, hey, I really noticed this. So maybe let's throw in some hip movements and we'll try some different breathing techniques and stuff like that so that they can not only be centered within the session, but also take home some methods to help them kind of come back to themselves if they find themselves disconnected and feeling in the chaotic world that we're in, right?
Yeah. And I know that that has to be so helpful because you're blending that energetic work with the actual body. And I look at the soma as fascia,
Yeah.
essentially.
Oh,
and so and it's so literally like bringing in that, and the fascia and the body is actually the the bridge, the fascia and the electricity that's moving through the fascia. Those two components are actually the bridge that is bringing our spiritual world into the physical vessel. So I
Mhm.
love that you're bringing those two things together. So good.
Don't even get me started. I can go down so many rabbit holes, because that's literally what Reiki is. Reiki is directly working with that. And so, oh, yeah, that's a conversation for another time. But yes, yes.
Yes,
I
we
love
will
that you
definitely have to
connected.
chat about that
Yes.
because yeah, thank you. It is so it sounds like we need to just get together and record a chat because
Yeah.
like it's so good, and I would love to go into all of the things with that,
Mhm.
like specific body parts, the organs, the energies that are associated with these organs. There are so many avenues that we can go down with that. Um
Yeah,
so yeah, if you're interested, I'm interested because that sounds like so
absolutely.
much fun.
So I actually, in another endeavor of of this lifetime, I initially was a physiology major, and I still love physiology, and I'll tie that like I read research journals and tie that in. That was my first major before I switched to the environmental sciences. So I definitely kind of bridge all of those together because they all flow together. Yeah.
Absolutely. I absolutely do. And the thing that came to my mind whenever you just shared that, love that, by the way. I love that you started with like physiology, the very physical matter, and then you gradually like you went into soma, which is body and spirit, and now you like you went
Uh-huh.
all the way to the spirit while still integrating all the other pieces.
Yeah, I didn't actually come to that realization because I was like, "Oh, man, physiology just wasn't working out in that avenue, that, like, every path was difficult," and not in a way of, like, let's overcome trials and tribulations. It was, like, roadblock after roadblock, and then I finally, had
Yeah.
my dream, and I changed everything on that. But then, I mean, I
Freaking
realized,
love
like,
that.
yeah, of course, like, this ties into it, and it's all meant to come together, and it wasn't just wasted time. It's very valuable, it's very useful, and there were some, like, detours and things along the route, but it led me right to this, and it's incorporated in it as well.
Mm, I love that. That's beautiful. So good. Well, we will definitely I do wanna hear about that dream, by the way. So I would love to, like because it feels to me in the ethers like that dream could actually be a really good starting point for a really fun conversation. Um, so yeah, I would love that. If
No,
yeah, we'll
yeah.
have to figure out another time to do
Other
that for
things we're
sure.
talking about.
I know! I was not expecting this, but this is wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna open your chart up here. Let
Yay.
me
Okay.
see here. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be looking at Darian's astrology chart first, and then I'm gonna bring in and introduce the Chinese medicine chart that I'm working with and introduce the basic concepts around that. And then I'm going to share my insights of the connection point, the connecting pieces. Today, we are only going to be talking about her sun, her rising sign, and the planet that's ruling her rising sign. Let me share this right now. Okay. So, let me go back here. There we go. Oh my gosh. So, whenever I opened your chart, I was like, "Holy shit." I literally was blown away that you have so this was literally the first thing that I saw was your Pluto sitting right on your ascendant.
Hmm.
Wild. And then I was like, "It's right across from her moon." And so that is definitely something that, I wanna chat about a little bit for sure. But let's stay focused too. I'm a very like, let's structure, let's sit in the structure. So
Oh, same, 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 same. That Capricorn comes in, you know.
you can't tell I'm a Capricorn. And you are too,
Hmm.
so you understand.
I am.
So, in the astrology world, your sun, as we just said, is in Capricorn. Capricorns are known for being long term, legacy oriented people. So they are very goal driven, but for the big goals, for the long term goals that are actually sustainable and attainable. And they are known as like the sea goat. So it's not just the ability to climb up a mountain, but it's also the ability to be able to go deep into the waters, bringing the wisdom from the depths up to help them climb that mountain. And the mountain is once again whatever legacy, whatever it is um that they're here to be building. So your son being in the second house, that tells me, and also because you have multiple planets sitting here in Capricorn in the second house, that tells me that there is really a lot of support from the energetic world as well for you to build something of a legacy that is all around living in your value, living and valuing the material world, money, we've talked about money before, money, food, yumminess, all the pleasures that it is to be a human being. That is, in a way, what you're here to be building a legacy on. And it's also like a reinvention of it. It's also like you defining what that is and letting go of maybe things that generations before you believed that was valuable. Um, so so that second house has it's all about your sense of self-worth. It's all about material world, how you express and how you express your self-value. And so it's similar to like like what are the things that you love to experience about life? What are the things that bring you pleasure in being human? And because those things are actually extensions of your heart, they're extensions of your values. And and so with that stellium, all those planets sitting there in that second house, that tells me that there is there's absolutely a legacy that's meant to be built here of self-worth and self-value while doing a reinvention of it because Aquarius is also kind of sitting here and you do have some significant stuff in Aquarius too. So yeah. And there's of course there's probably a lot more to this, but that's in general what I'm seeing with your Capricorn energy sitting in the second house. Do you have any feedback about that?
I think that's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the deep depths of astrology. I just know the basic, like I'm a Capricorn. These are my, all the typical like surface level things, and that is very interesting. About I keep so the word that keeps coming up, it seems, is like you changing the idea of what once was, and that feels very much aligned. I think that's when my mom and I are both very strongly like we're very much pushing um family traditions in a sense of like what we believe and how we experience things, and that's a big thing for sure.
Yeah, how you experience things is the thing that kinda rang in my ear too. It's the, it is yeah, it's the shifting of how you choose to experience things. Is it what has always been familiar, or is it actually like, what is true for me? What is true for my authentic experience? Um, you know what I mean? How I want to experience life, how I want to experience the pleasures of life. And that I mean, and that to me, that is a part of it for sure, that second house. And the fact that you're getting to do it with your mom means a hell of a lot. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's my girl.
I understand. That's how my mom is too.
I love that.
So your rising sign is in Sagittarius, and the planet that rules your rising sign is Jupiter. Jupiter is the little icon that is the number 4 in your chart. Do you see it?
I do see it. Yeah. Now that I'm like,
Yes. On what'd you say?
see it. Yeah.
Okay, yay. So, Jupiter is sitting right at the end of Sagittarius, right about to hop into Capricorn. Whenever a planet is sitting at the very end of a sign, that means that there is a level of mastery that you get to that you are embodying. And so, what's beautiful about what I'm seeing in your chart is that you have Pluto sitting right at your rising sign. Like, it's right on top of your rising sign. I mean, it's like 1 degree, but still. Um, and then you have the planet that rules your rising sign sitting in a degree that's like a mastery degree, meaning that you've learned all these lessons, you have grown, you know how to embody true Sagittarius energy, which is all about that optimism, curiosity, even hope, and expansive, abundant living. So it's what's so cool to me about just looking at the astrology side of this is that it's almost like because your rising sign, whatever wherever that line is for your rising it line sign is, hope yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, hopefully. But wherever that is, that is actually the place where you come into being. So all of the 12th house right there is all about like us being in the void and us void of ego. And and so with Pluto sitting there and it's, and your 12th house is in Scorpio, which is what technically could rule Pluto. And so it's almost like you carry some of that void of ego, and there's a lot more to it than just that, but like into like here I am. Um, but it also a lot more piece to that too is heaviness. There is a process that is necessary for you to really come into full being. Um, and I because Pluto is associated with like death, rebirth, transformation. And so it's a whole process. The other thing that whenever I was prepping for this, the other thing that kind of came through that I'm feeling led to say as well here is that kind of mirrors that process is transition time. It is significant for you to honor the transition time because that's essentially where Pluto is sitting is at the transition point of no ego to here I am. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So I would say, and I think we touched on this a little bit before, because of my husband's career, because of living nowhere near any support system, family, anything, and not having, we came to Tennessee during the pandemic. So like there wasn't really that community built. And there was a lot, I held a lot of wanting to control things because everything, like there was no control. So I would control what I could. Oh, there's headphones. And And yeah, so I feel like that part was like I had to move away from Tennessee to like be able to get out of this space and come more into myself and remove like the high stress and cortisol levels and come out of the fight or like the constant fight or flight. And in that process, that's where I found Reiki when I finally was like letting go of all my Capricorn expectations of like this is how things are supposed to be. Why why isn't it doing like why aren't we doing these things? Um and that's really when it was like, oh, of course it was this way. Like I really had to get through some shit to be able to come to where I was meant to be in that time. And I
Mm.
definitely I value the we had some very rough years and like it led me to Reiki. And that's when I truly became and even my Reiki master was like, yeah, a lot of things go on in your hips. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Yep. I've had 2 hip surgeries. The masculine side was very strong because I wasn't tapping into the feminine, and so my masculine was overworked and I was tired, and it led me I had to, like, find that time where I could soften, and that led me to Reiki, and after with Reiki, it's just that, like, okay, like, this is and, like, everything is shifted. Everything is there's no not to say there's no stress, but this is where we are, and whatever happens, happens. Whatever's meant to be is meant to be. It's going to be, right? And that took a lot for me to get to that point of like, okay, we're gonna, and because ego is important to a certain extent, right? But you have to have boundaries with it. And I really needed to remove the expectations and the strong ego of like, this is how it's supposed to be, this is how it should be done. And it's like, no, everyone's path is different. And you designed this, so like you got to get through this because this is what we tested you on. Like this is a little challenge we sprinkled in there, and that was a very hard one. Yeah, so I feel like I just rambled, but totally, I feel like that relates for sure.
I love that, and I don't feel like you rambled. I feel like what you just shared was the depths of, like, I mean, and not depths, but you gave us a taste of what it's like for you to actually go through a transition and what it's like on the other side. And so that's really fucking cool because your whole world is now different than what it was before.
But yeah, it is very different. It's something that where my friends are noticing, my husband's noticing, like my family, and they're like, "Well, like it's always been this way, but you're really leaning into it." And there is they're like, "Man, you seem so much." Not that I wasn't happy before, but like you seem so much lighter. And
Yeah,
it's not this like tension that's always around.
that's incredible. I love that. I love that. Thank you for doing that. Let's see here. What yeah, what I saw was the power of walking through that transition and being on the other side and that lightness that you mentioned. Um, that's incredible. I love so thank you for sharing all of that because it really helped us see the whole picture. Oh, let's see here. So we talked about the Pluto, the process, the transition. We talked about your son. We talked about Jupiter being like a mastery energy, something that comes natural to you. This is also like the rising sign is also something that just comes natural to you, intrinsic, and it's not anything that you have to work for or earn. Your sun sign is gonna be more associated with, like, your conscious aware your frontal lobe and what you're here focused on building, learning, and embodying, like, being. Your rising sign and the planet that rules your rising sign is that thing that just is easy for you. And this is the planet and the values of whatever that sign is really what I encourage anyone to lean into whenever they are like the human experience is just not easy whenever that happens. Like whenever I know for me, whenever I was struggling with stuff and just lost and doubt and confused, whenever I leaned into the vibes of my rising sign and the planet that rules my rising sign, like where its location is, I that helped me tremendously, like really come back home to myself, come back home to my body. So same for you. Even whenever life is transitioning, it kind of feels like the and I'm this is what I was gonna say is like it I'm curious about and it kind of feels like part of what your life story is like big transitions of transformation, like death, rebirth, transformation, transitioning you into a lighter, more authentic way of being. And so leaning into so I also look at Sagittarius as being that lightness and being that hope and optimism. And so leaning into that during those transition times will further support that transition process. Any thoughts on that?
I feel like I have constantly been in a state of transition, and I even have a tattoo of a phoenix. So I was like, man, I'm going through a lot of death and rebirth. Um, and so yeah, that just I feel like that deeply resonates, and especially leaning into like the lighter, the optimistic, that feels so true because ever since I began this path of building the Reiki business, that's what I'm leaning into is like the full trust and just knowing that it's going to happen how it's going to happen. And I'm optimistic. Like I know what's meant for me will find me. And this is the first time in my life that I've always been like, oh, like whatever's meant to be will be. But this is like the first time that I've actually truly leaned into it, embodied it, believed it.
I love that. That's so sweet. So good. So yummy too. The so you did ask about like business growth. So amplifying your business, bringing it out into the world, I'm assuming. Did you want to clarify that anymore? Because I do have some things I want to share in that context. But I would love to make sure I'm understanding exactly what it is that you're curious about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's really just I'm in this phase of building. And the two themes that keep presenting is like slowly and intentionally. Like that is I want to build a business that is accessible to others. That's something that's really important to me. While also finding the balance of my value and knowing all the things that go into a session. Um, but yes, I'm really in that building phase and that growth phase.
Second that completely. I am looking at like how your Saturn is sitting at the bottom of your chart, which the bottom of a chart is the roots of who you come from. And so there is in a way this is connected to building a business too. Because you've got to have that foundation set. And so for you, and it with it being in Pisces as well, I'm seeing that accessibility to everyone because that Pisces is very much connected to all. And so there is like a in your grounded foundation of your business, that quality of being accessible and sustainable, like so you can build it, that I see that in that regard. The other thing that I was seeing too is that so Virgo is the top of a chart. It's also the career. It's also which we'll get to the TCM side here in a second, but it's the career, is how you're here to be seen and what you're here to share to the world. Virgo energy is essentially the integration of the mind and the body. It's very healing energy. I know you're familiar with Virgo because we have some good Virgo friends here
Hmm.
in our lives. Um,
They're my
and
favorite. I
because
grew up.
Virgo is sitting I know, I am a little biased too. I love me some Virgo energy. Um, but because there's that Virgo is sitting at the top of your chart, those that carry Virgo energy are helping you in one way or another, with you sharing your gifts to the world around you in a way that's integrating. the mind and the body and healing. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And so Mercury, wherever Mercury is sitting in your chart, that is also going to play a role in how you grow your business, like the mechanism from which you grow your business. So Mercury is sitting right down here, the little guy with the horns. And he's actually right on that line right there, sitting next to the other one, which this guy is a generational planet. He's Uranus. So what that tells me is that your business and the growth of your business is going to be very like Uranus is what rules lightning strikes. It's very unexpected. And it's also connected to the higher mind and higher awareness. So all of the channeling, all the dreams, all of that stuff is going to absolutely and is already has been playing a role in your business growth. The other thing that I'm seeing too is that Gemini moon because Gemini is also ruled by Mercury. So, and this is sitting in your house of relationships, one-on-one relationships. And so there is something about, and I just keep seeing that line that's your moon with Pluto. And so there is that dynamic of like, as you're in transition, you're processing through your emotions in the context of relationships, whether it's past relationships, it feels like more like currently is happening in your relationships. Um, and that's actually influencing your mind and it's going to influence what you share in your business. Anything coming up for you with that?
Yeah. Virgo's my girl, you know. Ever since she's entered, it's just been this like support, this circular, like symbiotic relationship almost. Like we're supporting each other, we're here for each other. And my husband's also a Virgo. And
Hell
you
yeah.
wouldn't
Love
expect,
that.
yeah, you wouldn't expect um because of his background for him to like it's just not stereotypical, I think, is what you would think of like him leaning into this, but he's fully fully supporting, like coming up with ideas to like, oh, what if you did this? How can I support you in this? And it's all of these. So I feel like that's the relationship part is and the Virgo energy. My Virgo is really coming through right now. And and helping with that growth. And also like I have a tendency to downplay myself, my things, because I'm like, oh, like this I just expect it of myself. And so after I do a Reiki, I'm like, oh, that was really cool. And the person's like, oh my goodness, this was so amazing, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm just a conduit, man. Like I'm just here. And
Yep.
and I think that and so they're coming in being like, no, like this is you're doing amazing things. Like this is a gift and you have this. You need to feel this, like and give yourself some self-love with that. And so I think that's definitely where the relationship aspects are coming in with that, is what I'm feeling.
Yep. Yeah. I love that. And that's like that the self-love and people reminding you to value your gifts, to value what you're offering. And that actually ties back to that second house as well, that self-value stuff. That's beautiful. I love that. And I also am a little obsessed with the fact that your husband is his son is sitting in your 10th house. Like I fucking love that. I know of someone else that we actually mutually know. Her husband is also sitting in her 10th house. And I
I
think
love
that
that.
is the coolest thing ever. So cool.
We love that.
I love it. Yes. Okay, so are there any questions before we move over into the TCM world?
I don't think so. I think we've touched base on everything. I'm excited with the CM part.
Yay. Okay, cool.
Yay.
So this is the connecting piece. There is time associated with an astrology chart and there's time associated with the organ chart. People that are born right around noon, their sun is all going to be at the top of the chart. If they're born right around midnight, their sun's going to be at the bottom of the chart. And then if they're going to be born right around sunrise, to the left, right near the ascendant, and then sunset on the right near the descendant. That's across the board, everyone. And then in the organ chart, so let's pull that up now because I freaking love this stuff. So in the organ chart, it's the same thing. Organs, the same organs are associated with specific times. So whatever organ was active during the time that you were born is actually an organ that's going to be staying with you for your life. Like that's what you're here to be learning about, depending, I mean, yeah, depending on the planet that's sitting there. But today we're just going to be covering the basics of like your sun, once again, what you're here to be learning about in the context of that organ. And then we're going to be talking about the organ that's sitting within the planet that rules your rising sign. So, do you know about the 24-hour organ chart?
Yes, vaguely, briefly, words. That's what I'm looking for. A little bit.
You said a little bit. What are you
Yeah.
looking for? What did you I heard, what am I looking for? A little bit. That's what I heard.
The word, I like the word just wasn't coming to me because like vaguely isn't the word I'm
Okay.
looking for. Briefly isn't the word I'm looking for. Like, yes, I have some knowledge of this.
Okay, beautiful. I love it. Okay, so for those that have this is your first time seeing the 24-hour organ chart, I just want to let everyone know kind of what to expect here. This is a 24-hour period, and every 2 hours, chi life force is flowing through a specific organ at that specific time. And life force, chi, energy, electricity is happening for that organ during that 2 hour block of time to really help that organ do its job and to heal, to cleanse, to detox, whatever it is that is being, whatever that organ does, however it does its thing. That 2 hour window is the optimal time that it's going to be doing something. So, a tool, the way that I've used this tool before I started integrating it in with astrology is I would notice what time my symptoms, if I had symptoms like waking up late at night or heart palpitations or anxiety that was clearly not connected to my environment, I would notice what time that was occurring, and then that would actually tell me that that specific organ was actually needing more energy to do its job, to do its function. And so then that would help me know, okay, well, I need to do, a acupressure point for my stomach to help my digest this energy or this anxiety or even just food. Um, because it needs extra energy, and the acupressure point actually facilitates, gives it more energy. Whenever I blend it in together, um, the organ that is active during a person's birth time actually shows me not just the physical ailments that they could experience potentially, but it also shows me the emotional and spiritual aspects that they're here to be learning about and embodying as well. And I look at it, this is my experience. I look at it as being on a range, on a scale. So you are meant to experience the highs and lows of, for you specifically, Darian, it would be the lungs. So the depths of lungs being hardened and being stubborn and not budging, to breathing and immunity and to really like having a sacred surrender, a letting go. And I say sacred because the lungs are deeply connected to the sacredness of being human. And so you've got to hold that and value and treasure the aspects of being human while recognizing whenever it's time to let them go and honoring it from that sacred release aspect. Okay, so that's the intro for the organ chart. That's where your sun is, and you have a lot of energy in that lung area. I do also see that it is kind of connected to the liver a little bit. So there is some things there as well. Um, but yeah, does anything come up for you with the lungs?
The stubbornness, very much. Yeah, that is something I've learned slowly. It's taken some time to let go of, and so that feels very much aligned. Um, yeah, I was giggling. I was trying to like hold back my laughter, like, oh, there's another little sign sprinkled in of like, maybe we should let go of stubbornness.
I do, and I said stubbornness, 2 reasons, like, because I know that we've talked about that, but also because the lung is associated with the metal element, and so the metal element is, you know, iron sharpens iron type of vibes, and so there is a
Yeah,
quality of being able to be stubborn for a purpose, but because these are the values, this is, efficiency and doing things really well, integrity and all that stuff, like that's also a part of this. But when is this hardness actually too hard and not actually more malleable to lifing, um especially with, because you do have like the planet that rules your rising sign is sitting right at that large intestine lung area. And what that tells me is that there is something that you are, oh, I like that. Okay. I just kind of got the sensation of like what comes naturally and easily to you is to actually let go. Like whenever you know it's time, like you have a knowing of whenever it's time to let go and you can. Like that's what's supportive for you, but the thing that you're actually more specifically here to be learning about is the yin quality of letting go. Whew. So the large intestine is strong, and so it serves the yin, which is the lung. And so your large intestine, you are quite comfortable with, and this is what I'm seeing. So if it's, and if it's not that, let me know. Because I'm also thinking about how Pluto is sitting in all of this too. But this is what's supportive to you is to have the higher awareness, have the higher vision of the value of letting things go, like burning it away type of thing. But what you're here to be learning about is actually the sacred softness of letting things go. I mean this in like the tender, vulnerable of crying and just like the vulnerability of like like that, because that's your lungs letting go. And so, and there is something about that, that you're here to be kind of leaning into, tapping into.
that clicks. The letting go, I feel like that's always been something I've been like, I know when it's time, and I used to. I would fight and claw and hold on as hard as I could. And I slowly just felt that release of like, okay, like, nope, it's not meant to be. Let this go. And I think now when you mentioned like the sacredness part of letting go, it's letting go with forgiveness. It's letting go without any animosity. It's letting go without judgment.
Yes. Yes.
And I've definitely been the person that's like armors up, walls are built, like, and it's not even in a sense of like my childhood. Like my mother was always like, feel your feelings, and she's and so it was never like it wasn't a feeling of like I couldn't express my emotions. I just didn't. And I think I did learn from a very young age of like if I got hurt, I would just because I didn't want to be hurt. I didn't want someone else to hurt me. And I didn't allow for that vulnerability of like, dang, that really sucked. Like I didn't deserve that. And I think I
Yeah.
unfortunately, I did learn that at a young age, and so I think I just carried that, and it's taken a lot of time to be like, "Okay, maybe I need to cry right now," or like, "Oh my gosh, I'm crying. We're not gonna stop it. We're not gonna push back the tears.
Yeah.
We're gonna have this," 'cause it's a huge energetic release of having that
Yep.
energetic release, and I think I'm giggling because my mom, um, I think motherhood really, really softened me because and I have boys, and it's even more important for me to be like, you will express your emotion. You will learn the tools to express your emotions. And it's okay to feel the wide range of emotion that doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you any less of a person. Like, we are all humans here experiencing this. Like, there are going to be feelings that arise and all of these things, right? And I feel like motherhood
Yeah,
really taps me into that of like, oh, of course. Like, I'm not gonna tell my kid this, so, like, why am I telling myself this? And that took that little, like, that reframing and that shift of, like, "Oh, it really is that simple."
I love that. I love that, like, you as a parent, were able to, you know, and I've heard this phrase before, and I love that people get to discover a new level of self-love from the lens of a parent. But what I love specifically within what you shared is that you actually discovered the level of that yin crying. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just about the letting go period. It's also about like processing and filtering even the shit of what happened, and forgiveness, and even like the sanctity of detachment within that forgiveness. And so it's not just a like, yeah, I'm just going to say it again for the sake of saying it again, but like it's not just about letting it go, but it's actually about the process and honoring that process of grieving and filtering through the shit while also having gratitude. It's that, yeah, I love that you got to see the beginnings of that, at least, if not more than just the beginnings of that by being a parent. That's beautiful.
That gratitude part really stuck out because everything they're like, it's and sometimes it's really hard to see the gratitude of an experience, right? Especially when you're in it, you're really in it, and you're like, "This fucking sucks." And it's hard to have that gratitude, and you kinda have to step back and have that layer of like, "Okay, this is what this serves me, and this is how this," and so I think, like you said, gratitude is instantly like, yes, of course. Because I also feel like that's part of the process, right? That's truly the processing of like, okay, yes, thank you for this experience. This is what I've learned. This is what I'm taking away from it. And it's beautiful that it's led me to this path, right? Like that gratitude part.
And it still sucks at the same time,
Right.
too.
Yeah, two things can be true.
Yeah, like that's literally so much of like my life is like this fucking sucks and thank you for
Yeah.
this experience. Like it's literally so I literally there are times whenever I am in pain and I'm literally from a genuine place also saying thank you for showing me this, or thank you for this process. I'm in pain, but thank you. Like, and it's the weirdest sensation. But for me at least it keeps me going. So,
Yeah.
it works for me. It might not work for everybody. Um Okay, so we talked about the large intestine being what comes natural to you. What's going to be most supportive for you is the large intestine. What you're here to be learning about. And so that's going to be yang. So anytime that you are struggling or life is just harder than really what it needs to be, lean into that large intestine quality of letting things go, whether it's literally physically letting things go or doing a fucking colon cleanse, whatever it is, like doing things to really lean into that large intestine. And then that will likely support all the lung stuff as well. I mean, it will 100%, it will support that. Just because they're a paired organ. They work together. So you actually have some significant things happening right near significant points in your astrology chart, especially over this summer. Let's go back to that really quick. So you have Uranus is sitting right around here, like at 4 degrees Gemini, and I think your moon is right around 4 degrees Gemini. So that tells me that kidneys and your emotions and aha moments, sudden lightning strikes of awareness, of higher awareness. This also, kidneys are closely related to divine fated path. And so trust the process with anything that comes up with like lightning strikes of emotional responses, especially because it's in Gemini in the mind. Um, and how you're perceiving things, especially with Mercury retrograde right now, especially over this month of July, like that's going to be kind of getting activated. The other pieces here is that we've got Pluto sitting at 4 degrees Aquarius, so that's kind of right around here. And that's once again sitting next to that Mercury Uranus stuff. So still Mercury Uranus, like there's some big stuff happening with that. And then we've got Leo here. That was not happening, like it is, but it's not, we're not focusing on that right now. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting is that your Chiron, which is the wounded healer, is sitting in Libra, and we have a few placements in Aries. One being uh Saturn and the other being Neptune. Saturn is the guy that is going to be essentially is sitting opposite your Chiron right now. So what that tells me is that there is, especially cuz your south node is in Aries, you don't see it, but it is sitting here. So there's probably things from the past, old habits that are being asked to be let go of, and even maybe wounds. So the wounded healer, and this is all coming up like this summer. The final piece that I want to make sure that I mention that I love, that I think is more important than the framework itself. I mean, I don't necessarily like saying that, but um is the way that I integrate this. The most important piece of integration with this is to work with the seasons, and looking at where Leo is sitting at in your chart, paying attention, or Cancer too, because we're currently in Cancer season. Paying attention to how your body remembers those times of year, even if you got to write down like significant life events over a 5 year period, 2 year, 1 year, whatever, but notating historical events that happen throughout your year will actually give you a better picture of how this chart and its combination with TCM is actually meant to land in the body. So if that's something that you're curious about and you want to work with more, I would recommend writing down, historical events, all that stuff, to begin get an idea of patterns of how life shows up for you. That way you can start working with these organs. You can start working with them on a spiritual level, emotional level, physical level. Like you can do cleanses based off of this. I know that's what I do. Um, yeah, and there's so much more to it. Those were the main last pieces. Did you have any questions about any of that, or anything that came up with that?
Yeah. Summer is typically a really big transition phase because typically my husband, and this is now that I say this in my mind, it's not going to make sense, but with the military lifestyle, it's either he's coming home or he's leaving. And those are always really big, like leaving for extended amounts of time. And what is he doing in 2 days? He's going to be gone for 4 months. And so there's that. And I've noticed some like energetic shifts. I've noticed some pain. I'm like, okay. So it's really interesting that you mentioned that, especially with like the seasons. And you did mention earlier, okay, this is arising for me at this time. What is this telling me? I think that's something personally that
Mhm.
I will start looking at because I think that's, first of all, brilliant. I did that for you. Uh, that's a very useful tool that I just learned from you, and I'm very thankful of all the things that I've learned today, of course.
Yay.
But yeah, so that's definitely, I'm interested to kind of journal and see and reflect and see how that shows up for me, the remaining of this year and kind of what we're looking at here. That's very interesting, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yay! I'm so glad that it resonates with you and that it's something that you wanna get curious about. I know it's always fun for me to notice the patterns, and the more that I do it, things get enlightened every year. Like, I mean, just things not only do lighten up, but they also like my mind is like, oh, interesting. Like, I did not
Mm,
see that until now, but this is something that continues to happen every time this year. It's really,
literally.
really fun. And also, like I said, summer has always been a really heavy time for me too, and for different reasons. And I really never knew why, but it for me it was like physically I felt heavy. And I'm sure there were also life events that happened too that I'm not remembering right now. But yeah, the more that I will do cleanses, the more that I will do things during this time, the more that I actually have experienced balance as each year comes. I experience a little bit more lightness and I can hold space for the summertime in my body, and like I can be okay. My nervous system isn't overwhelmed. My heart's not overwhelmed, which that's my heart is sitting everyone's heart is at the top of the chart. And so my heart is Cancer season. And so I would get overwhelmed and heavy and all the things. But yeah, that's what we're working through right now because we're in Cancer season right now. So we're taking care of the
Oh,
heart, we're taking care of the heaviness, and yeah. Well, any final thoughts, any final questions, curiosities, or anything like that?
okay, I have like one kind of random question. So, did you see what time I was born?
Yes. Yes, we've talked about
Yeah.
that.
No, I didn't know. I thought I was born like 4:36 or 4:32. I couldn't remember. And I texted
I
my
thought we had
mom
talked.
shortly after our phone call. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I texted my mom after my phone call with you, and she was like, "No, you were born at 4:44." And I said, "Shut the fuck up." I was like, "You are lying to me." And she's like, "One moment, please." And like, even though I have my birth certificate, but of course with the move, it's like, and she took a picture and she's like, 4:44. I told you. And I did not know that. And I feel like that was just like an aha moment of like, holy shit, okay. And so I'm looking at the chart because you said, it's four was that Pluto? Oh my gosh, it's like there are a lot of things. Now I'm four, 'cause it's on the line, right? It's on the edge. What does four represent
Here, I'll bring up the other
on the
so
chart?
you can see. So 444 is going to be right at the end of the long hour.
I don't know why, but the 4 degrees stuck out. And I was like, wait, I wonder if there's I don't just four was just like being like bold.
Well, I love that you brought that up because actually there is a big what's it called? Angle for that formation. Maybe that's a better way of calling it. It's a formation, multiple planets sitting at specific places in the sky right now. Not right now, but essentially right now. And they're all sitting at 4 degrees.
Interesting.
Oh,
I keep
yeah.
seeing fours
So and one
everywhere.
of them yeah. So that tells me that there is something, and please only take this if it resonates, but that tells me that there's likely something that is gonna be happening, or whether it's inside, it kind of feels like it's gonna be inside versus outside, maybe not, but something is gonna get activated right around that time. That's gonna be happening, I believe it's between July 21st and July 24th, somewhere in there. But like one of the planets that's sitting at 4 degrees is Uranus in Gemini, right on top of your
Okay, that
moon.
okay,
And then it's Aries and Aquarius and Leo. Those are all the signs that are going to be getting activated with different planets sitting at 4 degrees.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I would definitely say there's something there. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, I was like, "Wait, 4 again." Like, just, like, bold, like, "This is telling me
Yeah.
something. What is it?"
Yep, yep, it is. I would say it's like a heads up, like something's coming or something's gonna happen.
Blessing. It's brewing.
Yes, it is brewing, baby. It's brewing. I love that. Well, this has been an amazing time. Thank you, Darian, for taking me up on the opportunity and sharing a bit more of your story and being open to receiving my frame, my lens. Yeah, until we see each other again. I look forward to that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. This is incredible. Like, this was just An extremely eye-opening experience. I'm so grateful for this space. I'm so grateful for you. This is what you're doing is just, oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It makes me so happy and excited. I can't wait to see you
Thank
blossom.
you.
Continue to blossom. Yeah.
I received that. Thank you.